What if Leonardo da Vinci had debated the medieval masters? Not painted for them, not studied their manuscripts in silence, but stood face to face with the greatest medieval thinkers, theologians, philosophers, scholars, and challenged them directly. History often tells us that the Renaissance replaced the Middle Ages. That light followed darkness. That reason shattered superstition. But reality was far more complex. Leonardo da Vinci did not emerge from a vacuum. He was born at the edge of two worlds, one foot in medieval tradition, the other stepping into modern thought. So what would happen if Leonardo had debated the medieval masters themselves? Would he have dismissed them as outdated, or would he have discovered that his own ideas were deeply indebted to theirs? Tonight, we imagine a conversation history never recorded. A debate between Leonardo da Vinci and the minds that shaped medieval Europe. Not to declare a winner, but to understand the bridge between ages. To understand this debate, we must first dismantle a myth. The Middle Ages were not intellectually silent. Medieval universities, Paris, Bologna, Oxford, were alive with debate. Scholars argued fiercely about nature, motion, anatomy, optics, and the soul. Figures like Thomas Aquinas, Roger Bacon, Albertus Magnus, and William of Ockham were not enemies of reason. They were systematic thinkers, deeply committed to logic and observation within the framework of faith. Leonardo da Vinci grew up surrounded by this inherited knowledge. Monastic libraries preserved ancient Greek science. Arabic scholars transmitted mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Scholastic method trained minds to question, categorize, and argue. The Renaissance did not erase medieval learning. It transformed it, and Leonardo was its most radical transformer. Imagine Leonardo standing in a candlelit hall, no paint on his hands, no sketches in his pocket, only questions. Leonardo was not a university man. He held no formal degree, yet he challenged authority more fiercely than many trained scholars. He would begin not with theology, but with experience.
Go and look.
Leonardo might say,
Nature does not lie. Only men do.
This single principle separates him from many medieval masters, where medieval scholars trusted ancient authorities. Aristotle, Galen, Augustine. Leonardo trusted the eye. He dissected corpses. He studied water currents. He observed birds in flight, and in this imagined debate, his challenge would be direct.
How can you speak of the world without first observing it?
The medieval masters would not remain silent. Thomas Aquinas, calm and precise, would respond,
Observation without reason is chaos. Reason without order is blindness.
For Aquinas, the universe was intelligible because it was ordered by God. Nature could be studied, but only within metaphysical boundaries. Roger Bacon, often called a precursor to modern science, might surprise Leonardo. Bacon advocated experimentation centuries before the Renaissance. He believed mathematics and optics were keys to understanding reality, but Bacon would caution Leonardo.
Experience must serve wisdom, not replace it.
The medieval scholars were not against observation. They feared observation without moral and philosophical restraint. Now the debate sharpens. Leonardo brings forth his anatomical studies, muscles, tendons, organs rendered with brutal precision. The medieval masters recoil not from ignorance, but from reverence. In the Middle Ages, the human body was sacred. Dissection was rare, not forbidden, but morally complex. Leonardo, however, saw no contradiction between beauty and anatomy.
To understand the soul, he might argue, one must understand the body that carries it.
Albertus Magnus, a scholar of natural science, would nod cautiously. He studied plants, animals, minerals, believing nature revealed divine order. But Leonardo goes further. He removes symbolism. He removes allegory. He replaces meaning with mechanism. And this is where the medieval world feels threatened. Medieval thought was symbolic. A lion was courage. A lamb was sacrifice. A rose was divine love. Leonardo rejects this language. For him, a bird's wing is not a symbol, it is a machine. Water is not a metaphor, it is a force governed by laws. In our imagined debate, Leonardo dismantles centuries of symbolic interpretation.
Nature does not speak in symbols,
he insists.
she speaks in patterns.
This is not rebellion, it is a shift in worldview. The medieval masters sense it immediately. They are not losing an argument, they are witnessing the birth of a new way of seeing. Surprisingly, Leonardo does not attack faith. He rarely writes about God, but he never denies him. His silence unsettles theologians more than denial ever could.
Where's God in your machines?
One master asks. Leonardo answers carefully.
In the laws that govern them.
This response would haunt medieval thinkers. Not heresy, but displacement. God is no longer explained through scripture alone, but through mathematics, geometry, proportion. The divine retreats into structure. The most explosive moment arrives when Leonardo challenges authority itself. Medieval knowledge was cumulative. Truth was preserved, commented upon, transmitted. Leonardo breaks the chain.
Experience is the only mistress,
he declares. William of Ockham, the great skeptic of universals, might smile. Ockham believed simplicity revealed truth. He distrusted excessive abstraction. Yet even Ockham would hesitate at Leonardo's radical independence. Without authority, what remains? Leonardo's answer is unsettling.
the world itself.
This debate would not end in victory. The medieval masters would not be defeated. Leonardo would not be crowned superior. Instead, something more profound would occur. Each side would recognize the other as necessary. Without medieval preservation, Leonardo would have nothing to build upon. Without Leonardo's rebellion, medieval thought would never evolve. The Renaissance was not a rejection of the Middle Ages, it was their metamorphosis. Today, we live in another age of transition. Authority is questioned, tradition is challenged, experience battles belief. Leonardo da Vinci and the medieval masters still speak to us. They remind us that progress is not destruction, it is dialogue across centuries. And perhaps the greatest lesson of this imagined debate is this: history does not advance by erasing the past, but by daring to argue with it. So what if Leonardo da Vinci had debated the medieval masters? Perhaps he already did. In every sketch that challenged doctrine, in every observation that questioned authority, in every silence that replaced certainty. And now, the question passes to us. When history speaks back, are we willing to listen? If this imagined debate between Leonardo da Vinci and the medieval masters intrigued you, explore the rest of the What If series here on Medieval Chronicles. We don't just revisit the Middle Ages, we ask what might have happened if history had answered back. Subscribe and continue this journey through the forgotten dialogues of the past. From Medieval Chronicles.